All right. Well, welcome into another episode of The Secret Sauce here. I'm Chef Aaron Montgomery. I should have got a chef hat, but I love sharing secret recipes for building businesses that you actually love. And today we're going to cook up a sauce that every entrepreneur needs so they can get control of their time. And these are not your typical time management tips because here's the truth. We really don't have a time management problem. What the challenge is we have a priority management problem. And just like in cooking, the things you leave out matter just as much as the things that you add in. So today I'm going to share three key ingredients for productivity sauce that's spicy, satisfying, and a whole lot easier to digest. So let's dive in here. Ingredient number one, the flow and capture system. So I think every great sauce starts with a base, and this one starts with the flow and capture system because when we're in flow with what is important to us, right? Not important to the world or external, what's important to us, we can better prioritize. And when we feel confident, we have all the potential ingredients to get into flow more easily. So here's the flow system that I use that might be an inspiration for you. For me, it all starts with what are your 12-month goals? What's kind of that flavor profile or the North Star of your recipe? You know, because without that, you're kind of just throwing random spices into the pot and just hoping that it tastes good. So we need to start with that 12-month go. Then from there, we kind of stir in the rest of the ingredients. We've got our quarterly reviews, and this is kind of the taste as you go, right? If you've ever watched any cooking competitions, the chefs are always grabbing a spoon and taking a taste and just making sure they're on target. And that's what this quarterly review is for. Just looking at what our actions have been, how we can improve those actions within our goal, big goal process, right? This next part is our monthly reviews. And for me, a monthly review is really just about celebrating. That was never a strong suit of mine. And I realized that my internal dopamine reward system was missing that. And once I started celebrating the things I already had accomplished, amazingly, more things started to get accomplished because I was chasing that dopamine reward hit. And so that monthly review for me is really just an honest assessment, but also just a time to celebrate what in the last 30 days, what have I been able to accomplish? Give ourselves a little pat on the back, and that's a good thing. And then from there, weekly plan. It's kind of like your grocery list. And for me, it's 10 to 15 projects or actions that I'm committing to accomplishing during this next 7-day cycle. And then finally, a daily plan. And from there, I kind of pull out 3 to 5 tasks, maybe key ingredients. And another really important part is that in my daily plan, I'm really focused on the things that I'm grateful for because then I can focus on what I have and not what I don't have. And that allows me to keep moving forward. But if you see that flow, right, that just keeps me in flow. That's my system. And so think about like this way, like you can't cook in a kitchen that's a mess, right? There's just everything, you don't know where anything is. There's everything all over the place. And so the next phase here is really about then what's your capture system? Our brains can kind of be like that, a little bit of a mess, right? We've got maybe multiple yellow legal pads, we've got multiple notes, post-it notes, things like that everywhere. And all of your ideas, your tasks, and your commitments, we need to get that into one master list, one place, and one place only. And so, not a ton of recipe cards everywhere, the post it notes, all that stuff, right? Here's the thing too many notes spoil the broth. So, for me personally, I use Asana, but there's other tools out there like Trello or Monday.com. Even just a single dedicated notebook will work. But my trick is when I add a task, I tag it to show up on a Sunday before it might matter. And there's a reason for the Sunday thing because when I plan my week, that's on a Sunday afternoon, and I decide if those tasks are worth kind of cooking in the course of that week or letting it simmer a little bit longer, and then I push the task off. Now, here's the next step. If I push that task off more than 5 times, and I think I borrowed this from Terry, to be honest with you, I take that due date off of that task and I just review all the tasks that don't have due dates on it by the end of the year. And honestly, by then, 9 times out of 10, that ingredient wasn't worth adding, or it was actually completed in another way, or whatever the case may be. But then I'm never worried about losing anything. So that's the first ingredient. Have that kind of state of flow, but then also a capture system that allows you to kind of clear the noise up here. The second ingredient is what I call the calendar spice. Right? We just really need to give it some structure here. And so this is where your calendar come in. Most of us have a to-do list, and we kind of treat our calendar as a cookbook that we never open. But your calendar is really that spice rack that sets your flavor of the week. And calendars are not just for your external appointments. I've got this doctor's appointment, I get this meeting with a client. Calendars are built to manage our time. And so if we feel like we're not in control of our time, your calendar is the best tool to do that. Now, here's how you do it. You block off your non-negotiables first, right? Whether that's family time, faith, rest, health, um, and and look at that as like your salt and pepper of the recipe here, right? And so adding those time blocks, and then also the next kind of what we would consider big rocks from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book. What are the biggest priorities for your business? Right. So instead of saying, oh, I've got to do marketing this week, make it a 90-minute block of specifics. Maybe you're going to cook up 3 reels, right? But put it on the calendar and make that a calendar like appointment with the most important person in your life, because that's the truth. It is an appointment with the most important thing to build your business. You can't skip those ingredients, right? And to remove the stress of juggling a giant to-do list, because when you use this calendar approach, now you've gotten rid of the decision of when is this going to happen? It's on my calendar. I already know I can just get it done. All right. Now, third and final ingredient that I want to share with you guys today is what I'm calling the Parkinson chili pepper. Right. And this is not Parkinson's like the disease. This is actually Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law says that work expands to fill the time that you give to it. So in the kitchen, that's kind of like leaving the pot to simmer all day until it boils over and burns, or just becomes this dry mess. And I believe that a lot of us are too busy because of this very fact, right? The truth is we're giving our work too much space. So what I would say, cut the cooking time, right? If your blog post is something that normally takes 3 hours, try to write it in 90 minutes. Set a timer. And that deadline is really going to give you that space to go, okay, I can get more done. And the reality is you can get more done. We're just leaving too much space for it. So when you've got a timer running, magic's going to happen. And another tool that you can use there is get some accountability. Tell somebody, yep, I'm going to have that blog post done today. Right. And then set yourself that 90-minute time block, set a timer, and get to it. And here's the deal, like all of these things that I've just shared, it isn't about time, it's about priorities. So if you use a flow and capture system so nothing falls through the cracks, you treat your calendar like a contract so your yeses are real, and you understand Parkinson's law, so your work doesn't eat up too much time and energy, now you're going to have control over your time. You mix those things all together and you've got a productivity sauce that's both tasty and effective. So the key is remembering you don't need every spice in the cabinet. You just need the right ingredients in the right order. So try this recipe out and let me know how that goes for you. And that's my secret sauce.